Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Crypto Hipster Podcast. This is your host, Jamil Hassan. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 1, our inaugural kickoff of the new season. And today I have an amazing guest. He is the founder of the Istanbul Blockchain Week. He is the founder of the BlockDown Festival. He is the general partner and co-founder of Matterblock, and he's the founder and CEO of EAK Digital. His name is Erhan Korhaliller. Welcome.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Very welcome. So to kick things off, I'll kick things off with the question I ask everybody, and that's the easiest question for me, is this: what is your background, and is it a logical background for what you're doing now?
Yeah, so I come from an advertising background, so I guess it's pretty logical. I worked at a creative agency in London called AKQA, which is one of the world's best creative agencies. Part of the WPP group, the largest group of advertising firms. And I was working there for a number of years. Previous to that, I was also working in advertising for AOL, if you remember that old America Online brand, legendary internet brand, helping out with their video advertising realm. And I was basically managing their kind of websites that would display video advertising for brands and get paid for it back in the day. And then at AKQA was where my career really took off, because I was a project manager there, and so I was managing teams for our clients, and our clients included Nike, Vodafone, Royce, Mini, Tassimo, some really strong clients. And I was working with really amazing creatives that I feel very honored to have worked alongside, as well as some top developers, top strategists, top copywriters. The list goes on. And I think once you're able to work with clients of that stature, deliver work that is worth millions of dollars, within budget, within a certain time frame, and manage a whole team. And obviously managing teams is very different. For example, the creative needs to be stroke their ego, whereas a developer just wants to be told very clearly in bullet point form, these are the things you need to work on today. Whereas if I said that to the creative, he'd kick me straight out of the room. So managing different people has definitely helped me grow my business, my EAK Digital, as the main business that I'm working on right now. And so then I basically was there for about nearly 4 years at AKQA, and then I was doing some kind of side work for EAK, let's say, which at the beginning was just beer money. Then it turned into holiday money. Then it turned into potentially vehicle money, and then eventually it was like, okay, sod this, I'm gonna go it alone and start my own agency.
Great. So before I ask you what EAK Digital is, you said some interesting things there I want to follow up on, because it's been the focus of my thought leadership podcasts for the past couple of years. It's how do you get the analytical side out of the creative, and how do you get the creative side out of the analytical? I want to get your suggestions on how you can do that.
How do you get the creative side out of the analytical? So look, the great thing was that we would have what we would call war rooms, which is a funny word for it, but where you have like the whole team in the agency working in a room for days on end, days and nights on end, with pizza and snacks and refreshments for days and days on end, where everyone would sit together and basically brainstorm. And so we would ensure that the analytical guys were in there alongside the creative guys, and they were coming up with solutions together. So me as a project manager at that junior stage of my career was just in awe listening to these guys come up with these ridiculously great ideas, which were then rolled out. So I took a lot of inspiration really from those guys. And then once I felt confident enough, I started chipping in myself. And then that really kind of helped me, like I said, learn how to learn how to come up with creative ideas ourselves as an agency, which is what we do now at EAK. But yeah, I mean, look, obviously it's not always perfect. The creative guys sometimes go completely off into a tangent and sometimes need to be pulled back. But the great thing about working at a creative agency is that the creatives are the top dogs, and so like we invest, or AKQA invests in like the strong ideas, whereas other agencies might just be looking at the bottom line as the final number. But really for AKQA, like if they saw a project or an idea that they really loved and the client couldn't afford it, they would invest in it themselves just to make it happen, because they knew like what a great impact it would have, and potentially the eyeballs and awards that it would win.
I led many a war room in my corporate days at AIG, so I hear you. So I want to ask you this then: is what is EAK Digital all about? What makes you great at what you do?
Yeah, so like EAK Digital is a creative communications agency for Web3 projects. So we've been working in crypto now solely since the late 2017. So we've seen quite a lot over these last 4 or 5 years. We've worked with projects right from the top of the tree, from the likes of the Binances and your Solanas, all the way down to some DeFi protocols, NFT projects. We still work with some. I think some of the guests that you have on your show in the next few weeks. Like our main bread and butter was always public relations, and still is public relations. We spend a lot of time building relationships with different journalists and media and influencers, and nurturing those. And we are extremely passionate team. I mean, we're a team of nearly 25 people now, and we're still hiring, even though through this bear cycle, which I think is against the trend. But I think that by doing that right now, you're going to position EAK to be a very strong position for the next run. And so, what makes us special is we have so many specialists in different areas. Let me give you an example. So, and maybe we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but we're launching a Web3 esports, the first of its kind Web3 esports championship live tournament in Istanbul during the Istanbul Blockchain Week. And the two guys we have on our team running that are both ex-professional gamers. One of them's ex-FaZe Clan, which is a very famous esports team. He used to play for ex-professional for Fortnite, or playing with Fortnite, and that's just one example. And in other areas, we like our marketing director has huge experience working with big global brands from his experience at Pasha Group, the big club and hotel brand out in Ibiza, and he's working very hard on bringing like Web2 brands into Web3, and seeing how EAK can advise those companies on their Web3 strategies, integrating NFTs, integrating metaverse experiences. And that is a big shift of focus, actually, because in 2017, 2018, 2019, it was all about PR influencers. That's all projects wanted, maybe a bit of Reddit, marketing. Whereas now we're seeing a lot of Web2 companies that already have Web2 user bases that want to get into Web3, and they're looking to work with a company like ours, who are Web3 native, let's say, to kind of support them in that initiative. As you know, there's bad actors in the space, there's good actors, and it's really important for their brands that they don't make a mistake. So, I think that's a key focus for us going into Q4 and then into next year. And then what else makes us great at what we do? We literally run our own events now. So we started off in 2018, 2019, like partnering with other events, big events in Malta, when Malta was all the rage, and when they first legalized crypto companies in that area, and then also in the US. And basically, we would help other events with their PR, their helping them get some speakers, and helping them get some sponsors. And then the thing is, like, after a while, they were asking for more and more from us, that it quickly became apparent that with our contacts book, that we should probably try and do this ourselves. I've been a digital nomad now since 2018. So literally the way that I comprehend being a digital nomad and don't feel guilty, because I always feel guilty if I don't do my work, and don't put 110% in, is that I would travel the world based on wherever the next big crypto event is. So that's exactly why I'm in Bali right now, because I was at Crypto Week Bali last week, and before that I was at Korea Blockchain Week, and now I'm waiting for Token 2049 in Singapore. So I'm just going to wait here for a few more weeks and then jump there. And I managed to build up a really, really strong, ridiculously strong network. I was doing interviews with the big speakers at each event on our YouTube channel called EAK TV. And, in 2018, I interviewed in one event, it was like Charles Hoskinson, CZ, Roger Ver, some really big names in the space. And that really helped us build our network and actually helped us get some big clients very early on in our crypto career, let's say. And then we ended up deciding that what, after being to literally hundreds of events and partnering with many events, that we should go into the event space ourselves as an agency. Of course, running your own events is very complementary to your own PR and marketing services. It's all encompassing. It enables us to obviously showcase the best thought leaders in Web3 in our network, also occasionally some of our clients, and of course we can bring some top media there, and obviously we can meet with them and build our relationships that way. So I think it's been interesting. It's been very interesting this year. We did the BlockDown festival in May, and then obviously we have Istanbul Blockchain Week in November, and they're two very, very different events, very different focus, very different vibe, and it's been a steep. It's been a steep learning curve, but it's been really fun because I think all of us in crypto are very intellectually curious, right? I think that's why we're all here. I think a lot. I mean, I definitely have a monkey brain that just needs more and more information. That's one of the reasons why I love. I keep saying crypto. I should probably say Web3 now, right? This is a more trendy word, but like that's the reason. One of the reasons why I love Web3, because there's just always got more and more to learn, and the same goes back to our business in terms of that we're always going to keep trying to do new things and keep innovating, and we have done a lot of that with our events. It's not just running the events. We've also been integrating like NFTs into our events. We've been integrating this whole gamification using NFTs in our BlockDown Festival event, which I'd be happy to tell you more about. And we're looking to do something similar in our next BlockDown event next year.
Awesome. I do want to ask you about the Istanbul Blockchain Week and your BlockDown event. I want to ask you first, though. You mentioned bear cycle, and I'm sure the PR has changed during this bear market / crypto winter number 2. What trends have you been seeing globally from a PR perspective?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, there's, from a pure agency perspective, there's been a huge dry up of like companies that want to work with influencers. It went from everyone wanting to work with influencers to no one wanting to work with influencers. So, any projects listening to this that want to work with your favorite influencers, now is obviously a great time, because their rates and they've been way more open to doing things, because the money just isn't on the table these days. So I would say that's definitely one thing. But then in terms of like actual PR, in terms of like media, news articles and everything, I'd say that this crash is kind of basically is what we've seen is like a rapid maturation of the market. So projects that aren't providing immediate value or are falling to the wayside, like the journalists, etc., just really kind of tired of it, like of this shiny new thing all the time that again just goes to nothing. So like the most obvious is like the NFT space. So unless you're like an NFT specific reporter, there's just way less appetite to write about these NFTs that don't have like a powerful story behind them, or they're providing exciting utility or creating any long lasting and worthwhile community. Like our agency has worked with multiple big NFT projects, but also some celebrity launches with some of our clients, and we're finding it like increasingly difficult to get the press to pick up on these celebrity NFTs now. They were old before the dip came. Now they're practically ancient. Nobody really cares unless you're doing something new. So yeah, we also saw a temporary downturn in the kind of mainstream press writing about like the potential of Web3. All they wanted to talk about was like, how it was a scam and everyone lost their money, and how it ruined people's finances. And I've still seen some of that recently. But the good news is that the metaverse and the metaverse, and particularly the NFT metaverse space, because a lot of brands are moving in now, that is giving the space a lot more credibility. And we're seeing a lot more Web3 speakers now at major events and on major publications that we wouldn't have seen a few years ago. Like, I've been to, I mean, like even this year in March, I was at South by Southwest, in Austin, and to see the level of NFT and Web3 and metaverse takeover was really astounding. Even in Davos, I was at as well, I think it was in May. We saw a lot of the Polkadot had a big presence there. USDC had a big presence there. The list goes on, and it's been, and again in Web Summit in November in Portugal, which is one of the largest, if not the largest, European tech event. I saw that CZ's there, and a number of other people from crypto is there. So it's great to see that we are piercing through, but it's obvious that the weak are falling by the wayside. As in, like, there's people are just tired of the same old narratives, and I think journalists are now really focused on, okay, like what brands are actually like entering Web3, and like how are they doing things differently, yeah, so like that's kind of been my key takeaways so far in this downturn.
Great to know. Thank you. I've noticed some of the same things. I've noticed, and I won't name names, but some of the influencers are being now categorized as bad actors because they take money and don't deliver. Like I said, I'm not going to name names, but there is positive things coming out of this. And one of the positive things coming out of this market is conferences. And you have two that you have Istanbul Blockchain Week, and you had the BlockDown conference. So what are you looking forward to the most with those conferences? And and one of them is an inaugural event, right?
Yeah, I mean, Istanbul Blockchain Week is because we had everything planned. This was like nearly a year of planning in 2019, 2020. We had some great speakers. We had CZ there. We had a number of other people there, and we had to cancel it 3 weeks before the event. It was supposed to be in April 2020, and we all know March 2020 was the lockdown. So that was a really difficult time for me as an entrepreneur, because I completely self-fund everything that we do at EAK, at Istanbul Blockchain, at BlockDown, etc. Like that, we don't have any backers, any secret venture capital backers or government backers or anything like that. So that was that was during a bear market, right? So like we were planning that, we were paying for that, the Hilton Hotel Bomonti, it's not cheap in Istanbul, and we were paying for that in 2019. So and then the huge crash that came during the lockdown, and then obviously having to give sponsor money back, have Hilton try and refund us the money we paid them. There will be a nightmare about it, to be honest, as well. And it was a really difficult time, because a lot of blood, sweat, and tears and effort went into that event. The reason why we did Istanbul Blockchain Week was because of the ridiculous numbers of people in Turkey that use or own cryptocurrency. There's been a number of reports, legitimate reports, that have come out from banks and various other sources, that over 20% of people in Turkey have owned or used cryptocurrencies. Now, Turkey is a country of over 80 million people, so it's pretty easy to do the math, like, of the levels of adoption there. If you have been to Turkey in the last year or two, you'll first thing you do when you get off the plane in the Istanbul airport, you'll see adverts everywhere: BTC Turk, Binance, Bybit, OKX, and admittedly a lot of them are traders. So Turkey has a huge trading scene. So like FTX and Binance have both told me that it's their number 2 and number 3 largest markets, and so naturally there's a lot of advertising and branding there for exchanges. And the thing is, if you take into account this huge amount of people that own or use cryptocurrency, so they're clearly open, they have wallets, they know how to use Web3 tools, and then you partner that with the gaming sector in Turkey, which has been big for a long time, mobile gaming specifically. So like there's a report that came out last year that 78% of adults in Turkey play mobile games, and it's interesting because it's split between men and women very equally. It's very, very equal between the men and women. And so, look, I think we're all aligned in general, just as the consensus in the industry, that gaming is going to be one of the next frontiers of getting mainstream adoption. I know everyone says mainstream adoption. It's a cliche to say, but once Web3 games catch up with their Web2 games in terms of the quality, I have no doubt in my mind that gaming is really going to bring in tons and tons of people. So, you've suddenly got a market with, huge amount of crypto adoption, huge amount of gaming adoption, and that one of the big reasons why we decided to launch our W3E gaming championships in Turkey is for that very reason, because we think it's a perfect place to do that with the two guys that I mentioned earlier in this chat. So and then also we looked around Istanbul for other events. Turkey in general, and the only events that I saw were really low quality. They were like really how do I say that? Influencers with bad reputations, questionable projects with questionable Ponzi-nomics, and I was kind of bummed by that. I was just like, really, is this the best that we've got, as a Turkish community? Like, considering the levels of adoption, we're regularly topping the charts or in the top 3 of multiple different things. Like, this can't be, the best that we can do. This can't be the first experience that lots of Turkish people, have when they come into Web3, because if they go to one of those other conferences and they buy those, coins with the Ponzi-nomics, or listen to these influencer shillers that are less than reputable, they're going to lose their money and they're never going to come back. And I literally felt like inside, like a real kind of inside energy to be like, do you know what, like, Erhan, you have contacts with a lot of the top exchanges and layer ones and some big brands from your agency career, and obviously I've been traveling the world for a long time now, so I've met so many people. You can do a better job than this. And the longer I kind of thought it through, I just thought, you know what, like, I just have to do this. This is a great opportunity for Turkey. Yeah, it's a good opportunity for us, and I'm really, really, really focused on putting together an event that the whole of the crypto industry can be proud of. Never mind Turkey, but I want a lot. I mean, I've spoken to lots of people, especially Americans, who are like, I love Istanbul, or I've been meaning to go to Istanbul and I've never been there. So now's a really fantastic time. And sorry, so just to go back to your question, what exciting things can the audience look forward to? I mean, there's so many exciting things to look forward to. So on the first day of the blockchain week, which is the 14th of November, so it's a week before Thanksgiving, we have like an NFT day. So that's purely focused on NFTs, metaverse, gaming, and we have some really fantastic speakers there. I can give you an example. We have a speaker there who was 15 years working as the CTO of the Final Fantasy series. The company's called Square Enix, and he was also a CTO for like the Sonic Unleashed brands, and he's now working on his own Web3 venture studio, which is very exciting. So I think from a gaming standpoint, it's going to be really interesting to hear about what he thinks about Web3 and about like and against Web2 and what he thinks the major barriers are to adoption and where he sees the space going. We also have some great NFT projects such as Lazy Lions, Hape, and a number of others that we're talking to still. And we've also got the top Turkish football clubs coming to talk about their fan tokens and their NFT drops. So the NFT day is going to be great. It's a day where we can be as degen, as creative and as possible and artsy. The thing is, with it being Istanbul Blockchain Week, I felt like it was relevant for us to separate the days, because at the end of the day, it is an official event, and we will have most likely government speakers and bankers and regulators and venture capital. And therefore, I think it was important to kind of split the days out so that it wasn't just a complete, jumble, and it didn't make any sense. So the flagship event of the week is the day after NFT Day. That's called Istanbul, and that's on the 15th and 16th of November. And as I mentioned, it's more focused on government, regulators, venture capital, banking, custody, mining, a lot more serious stuff, let's say. And so it's a really exciting opportunity, really, for those brands, really, to brands, banks, to come in, regulators, lawyers, and to come in and kind of really hear about what's happening in Turkey with regulation. Why is this market, like, why does this market have such high inflation? What does it mean? Like, how is that affecting the economy, like, and all of this kind of, like, economic macro outlook and things like that, which is going to be very, very interesting in its own right. And then finally, as I mentioned a few times, we had the Web3 Esports Gaming Championship was on a Thursday, and we have a dedicated esports arena that can fill up 1,000 people. And I've been there, visited it. It's really amazing. It's got everything you want from an esports arena. Huge screens, breakout places for people to play games. We're going to have a big foyer of different sponsors and brands in there where people can play Web3 games and earn tokens. And for a lot of people, that will be the first time they've ever played a Web3 game. Which is completely free to attend, by the way. That Web3 Esports Gaming Championship, and then on top of that, we're also hosting hackathons and workshops. So I think it's really important that we are bringing builders into Turkey, and we're bringing thought leaders into Turkey, and we're educating everyone, but of course the Turkish market specifically. So something that's quite interesting is, Turkey's never really been known for its developer talent. It's always been known for its trading and gaming and things like that. But it's definitely growing. I mean, there's a lot of university clubs in Istanbul that have really good kind of blockchain clubs that have young developers in. But not only that, and unfortunately, because of the war in Ukraine, there's been a lot of Russian and Ukrainian developers that have had to flee from their countries, and a lot of them go to Turkey. I mean, a lot of them go to Turkey anyway on holiday, and it's a very famous holiday destination for Russians in particular. So it's kind of artificially inflated the kind of developer community in Turkey. So for us as organizers, it's really important for us that we're putting on these educational, hackathons, workshops, and we're literally able to help onboard and upskill Turkish developers and the Turkish community, and hopefully help them win the jackpot, help them get funding. So like we have three main aims with Istanbul Blockchain Week. The first one is to bring investment into Turkey, right? It's very needed. Investment from anywhere, to be honest, the US, the Middle East, Europe, Asia. So luckily with my Matterblock, the fund that I have, we're utilizing our VC connections to bring in a lot of VCs. We're also going to have a pitch competition there. The second most important thing is education. So as I mentioned, hackathons, workshops. We're being very selective on the speakers, and we're literally every speaker we speak to, we say, you're not allowed to do a 15 to 20-minute talk about your company. It has to be on something that's informative and educational, and obviously, if it ties into your company at the end, that's fine, but it can't just be a 15-minute shill. Like, we're not interested. Like, you can, just forget it. And then the final thing is jobs, right? So again, we all know the Turkish economy isn't doing too well right now. I mean, nowhere is, but Turkish economy has been doing bad for a while. So providing, ways for Turkish people to find jobs at the, famous or otherwise, Web3 projects, we know they pay much better than your average job, and there's a sea of opportunity in Web3, and then I really want to actually make a difference. So I guess those are my key kind of intrinsic kind of reasons of putting Istanbul Blockchain Week, and those are the things that excite me the most. Hearing about the stories, the deals, the investment, the learning, the friendships, etc., that happen at the event will make all the hard work and stress leading up to it worth it.
I think you just covered three of my next three questions. That sounds absolutely amazing. So I was wondering, like, where all the development, like you said, in the airport, you see the signs. I was wondering where that all came from, but yeah, it makes sense. It comes from those who left Ukraine. I've interviewed a dozen people from Ukraine, from end of February till mid-May. So, one of the areas that you mentioned it too, you said macroeconomic and inflation, and right now there's global inflation. There's inflation. Like a year and a half ago, there was inflation in Turkey and some other countries, and now there's inflation everywhere. And how do you think the Turkey as an example, and your event as an example, can help make a difference, and people in other countries can learn lessons of how to deal effectively with inflation by using, Web3 economy?
Yeah, I mean, it's a strong thing to say that our event will solely help inflation rates come down. I think obviously there's only so much we can do. I think what we can do is help the individual, the public, the average person fight against inflation by helping them find different opportunities in Web3 that is a safer place to store their assets and potentially earn yield or earn, there's play to earn, there's everything to earn these days, and there's the social fire. We'll talk about that later. But like basically, I think it's our job to show the person who's never seen Web3 and is not used to that, they've just got a bank account, a normal job, that there are alternative ways to invest, save, store, and get involved in the Web3 economy. Even DAOs. I mean, DAOs is a key trend that isn't going away, right? That new way of work. I think that's really interesting because just earning tokens, being able to work in a DAO anonymously, there's no paperwork, there's no nonsense, with Turkish people, they sometimes struggle to get a job with a international company because of visas and work permits and all that stuff. So like just being able to open your laptop, contribute to a few DAOs, see what skills you have and what can be available. And I think that has a whole wealth of opportunity that 99.5% of people in Turkey and probably not far off that around the world still has no idea what a DAO is. So that's just opening their eyes up to the opportunities. And of course, once they start seeing the benefits of that, they're going to talk to their friends, and they're going to talk to their friends, and they're going to talk to maybe their mothers and their grandmothers, and even the older people in society who might not be able to make the event or might not be interested in the event will eventually feel the benefits of that as well. And so, yeah, and I mean, and then holding your money, in crypto or even in stablecoin, but in your own wallet, self-sovereign, custody of your own assets, I think is very important, especially if during potential, hyperinflation market, who knows what could happen with banks going on bank runs. I think we've seen that in China recently and a few other places. Storing your assets in your own custody is a huge thing, and that one day that could literally save them their life savings. So I think making these people aware of the different options available to them should have a network effect that spirals, long after the event.
And you mentioned the social impact. I want to get your take on what you meant there.
The social impact.
So there's a whole other thing as a social impact, and you're having these gaming conventions, and you're bringing back the social aspect of it. And I want to find out what the benefit is there.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot, and this is something that I was going to come to, I think, a little bit later, but we're seeing a lot of so the thing is with social impact is a lot of people are are still spending a lot of time. I mean, the thing is, like, COVID is still not as far away as a lot of us want it to be, right? It changed a lot of our ways that we interact with people. Even now when I go to conferences, it still feels a little bit weird. Like, some people are introverted, some people are still a bit worried about COVID, some people don't care. It's like, oh, can I talk to you, or should I wear a mask, or whatever. So I think the Web3, the metaverse, offers a really interesting opportunity for the whole world, to be honest with you, to kind of meet each other and to work together. And I think one of the a lot of the media and everyone bashes crypto Web3 for the anonymous side to it. But one thing I really like about the anonymous side to crypto, where your NFT is your PFP and maybe you've got a .eth address, is that it levels the playing field in terms of, like, nobody cares if you're a poor student in Southeast Turkey living in wherever, like, not a great environment, or if you're a rice field farmer in Bali, or you're a banker in London, or whatever you do, or like it doesn't matter. Like your opinion is your opinion, and no one's judging you for your looks, for your for how much money you earn, or for whatever, or your work experience. And look at your LinkedIn. That's one thing I really love about Web3, the social impact of that. And I think, and then the interesting thing is that, and having that in a workplace is quite interesting, right? Because I don't think I've ever been in a workplace where everyone's been anonymous in my entire life. Usually it's, in real life, you see people's faces. If it's not, at least on Zoom. So I think, that will be quite interesting in terms of lowering the playing field, everyone hopefully, having, more respect for each other, and, and people not caring about those old, kind of like differences that people have between them. And I think that people don't talk about that enough, but like that's an interesting point. And yeah, like that's kind of like when I think about the social impact of Web3.
Awesome. So I want to ask, we covered gaming, we covered your wonderful conferences, we covered NFTs, and there's one, you are also, in addition to EAK Digital, you are co-founder of Matterblock, right? So this is going to hit home with me because I was one of the impacts of the crypto contagion, that happened from May to July, and people are still, I believe they're still reeling, right? What trends have you seen in DeFi, globally, in addition to Web3? And what areas have you seen are still growing, people are excited about? And what areas do you see that people have massively pulled back their involvement or interest? And what do you see for the future?
Yeah, so what I'm seeing a lot of right now is like Web3, decentralized social media, like it's coming. I know a lot of people have been talking about it for years, and I've seen a lot of rubbish projects, but like there's so many projects now working on this, like fully like Web3, decentralized, log in with your wallet, communicate across wallets, like within a social media space, and obviously earning money from contributing to that social media. And, instead of going it to advertisers on Facebook and everything else where you're the product, that's actually coming in a strong way. And I'm seeing a lot of projects coming across our desk recently that are focused on social media, decentralized social media, Web3 social media, which is exciting and absolutely needs to happen. And I think it's just a very, very big task. So the last bull run, and when I say the last bull run, I mean a long time ago, that wasn't ready. And then of course, with GameFi, you can't ignore it. Like everyone is absolutely crazy for it. The level of interest that we've had on our W3E championship has been off the charts. It's very trendy right now. And again, there's so many games as well that are being funded out tens and tens of millions of dollars for next, to be honest, not much substance. And then it's not just those kind of categories. It's also this to earn, right? So, I've seen so many recently, chat to earn, swag to earn, like there's just everything to earn these days. And I'm not sure about the sustainability of that model, to be honest, about everyone just consistently earning. Like the money has to come out somewhere. But like I am seeing a lot of interesting, obviously Axie, really kicked off the play to earn kind of scene, but now I'm seeing a lot more like different ways to earn, engage to earn, dance to earn. I saw yesterday at an event I was at, yeah, I mean that's still something that people are really interested in, but I question whether how many of those are really going to make it through. And also also on the regulation side, it's quite interesting. So I was at Korea Blockchain Week a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now, and like I didn't even realize, but in Korea, like play to earn gaming is actually banned. And like Korea is a huge market for gaming, and I also read an article recently about regulators looking to clamp down on play to earn. So where's that going to go? Like as an investor at Matterblock, that's something that we need to seriously consider, right? Like the future of play to earn or anything to earn, and whether that's sustainable in the long run. Because if some crushing regulation comes in, that's not going to be great for your investment. So look, those are some of the areas that I've been seeing growing. And what else has been impacted most? I mean, like obviously I run a marketing company, so a lot of companies are not launching their projects. They're all in stealth. It in some ways it's good because they're spending more time, ensuring that the product is working, ensuring that they can launch with much better features, and they're being more careful with how they're spending their money, etc., etc. So in that way it's good. And what I would say is that as soon as the market turns around, I mean, there's so many projects that are raring to go. So like every retail crowd need to like get ready for that and get the money ready and investing in the right project.
Thank you. Well, I'd like to say I really enjoyed speaking with you today. This has been a wonderful conversation, and yeah, and I have one final question. Is this: how can people find out more information about you, about what you do, about your companies, about the conferences? How can they join? How can they attend? How can they do any of that?
Thanks. Really enjoyed this discussion today as well. So yeah, of course. If you'd like to find out more about us, you can find out through our agency, which is eakdigital.com. We are hiring in many roles in marketing, PR, and events right now. So please do get in touch with us if you're interested in learning more. IstanbulBlockchainWeek.com, self-explanatory. The event's in November. It would be great to see anyone listening there. And then from the Matterblock side to thing, from investing, it's Matterblock.com. And then our BlockDown Festival, which we didn't talk too much about, that's BlockDownConf.com. And my Twitter is @_Erhan K. That's ERHANK_. And then my full name, you'll be able to find me on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time today.
So much.